Pretty music. Welcome back to CBS Mornings. Over the past 2 years, the most serious effects of the COVID pandemic have happened mostly behind closed doors or in private homes and hospitals, where more than 800,000 Americans have died. Think about that number for just a second. And many more have been sick. This morning, we have the story of a remarkable nurse who documented part of the enormous human toll in photographs. Our lead national correspondent, David Begnaud, is here. And this really is remarkable, is a word to describe what this man has done.
Really powerful. It was a privilege to follow him within the last week. Good morning to all of you. You know, as you probably know, my team and I have been covering COVID since the start of the pandemic. And invariably, wherever we are around the country, there's a nurse or a doctor who will say to us, if only the public could see what we see. Alan Hawes gives us that chance. When Alan Hawes goes to work at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston, he brings with him a special ability, a talent, really, that he uses when he cares for the sickest of the sick COVID patients. He takes pictures of what you and I would usually never see. Because before he became a nurse 11 years ago, he spent 23 years as a newspaper photographer. And that gives him the ability to tell the stories of these patients.
This is a gentleman named Ryan Simpson. We had to send him emergently to our cardiac ICU.
And y'all believe COVID is what damaged the heart so severely?
Oh yeah, his heart was beating so fast for many days that—
How fast?
135 to 165. And this is his wife, Sarah. So this is the first moment that she saw him that day, and was, I think, kind of taken aback by all the people in the room as they were preparing to take him to the operating room.
So many frontline workers have said to us, if only the public could see what we see. Well, Alan Hawes convinced the largest hospital in South Carolina to allow him to give sight to what those caregivers routinely see.
This is a woman who was very sick. She was with us for a long, long time, and her family brought in this prayer cloth.
The family wasn't able to visit, but this prayer cloth
Yes.
was sort of their representative.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to the lady?
She didn't make it.
His pictures document COVID's grip as it tightens.
And he was totally there. As you can see, he's texting people on his cell phone, telling them what's going on.
But why did you want to capture this?
I felt like I knew where he was going.
And what happened?
This is what happened.
Oh.
So 2 days later, I walked in and there he was.
Vaccinated?
He is unvaccinated.
So you're now at a place, if I'm hearing you right, where you're like, c'est la vie, it is what it is. Don't want to get vaccinated, wind up here.
I have quite a few times had a patient who's unvaccinated, and I'll think to myself, you did this to yourself. But that doesn't last long. It's part of being a good nurse is having empathy. Once you hear the stories of some of our patients from their family members, you can become a fan of that person, and you just know that they made a bad decision.
You humanize them.
Yeah.
You're mad at them when they come in the door, and then you start to find out who they are.
I've had some really hard times with that. I mean, nurses are broken right now, emotionally.
Are you?
I feel like I am, yes.
How long did you have to work over the hospital to get permission to do this?
1.5 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the time when I got approval to do the project, I titled my email Public Service Project. And I think that's what made the difference.
Every time he gets permission to photograph, either from the patients or their family members.
I think people have a message that they want to get out there.
The mother holding a picture of the newborn she can't touch. The girlfriend who keeps a bedside journal.
Stephen James Lavender, you know that I love you with all of my heart and soul. You better not ever leave me.
Every night, I tell all my patients, all my family members, this is a roller coaster. This is 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
This is Alan's colleague, a nurse. He's triple vaccinated, but a lifelong asthma patient.
With all due respect, this is one example where a picture doesn't actually do it justice.
No, it doesn't. This is a picture where I was like, man, I wish I had video.
Give me a second.
No, yeah, you slow down and...
Well, our producer was in the room with the video camera.
Breathing. I don't need anything else exacerbated anymore.
I do wonder whether some people are going to be like, put that camera down and pay attention, just like full-time nurse.
Yeah, well, when I'm doing that, they're not my patients. I don't take pictures of my own patients. Kim, can you open your eyes for me?
27-year-old Kim was an exception.
This is Kim. She's such a unique person that she was able to tolerate the ventilator and not need a ton of sedation.
And so what did she write on the board for you?
It says, I feel miserable here. Tell us that you can hear us. Can you squeeze our hand? So as that day went on, she ended up getting a little bit more sick. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. And we ordered music therapy for her.
You think Kim's gonna make it?
I think so. She's just got like such a spark of life. I can't imagine if she has anything to do with it.
Finally,
This is Mr. Croxton. He had the heartstrings of about every nurse in our unit, I think, when he was there.
Joel David Croxton was 72 years old when he died. This was the nurse who broke down after she called his wife to tell her it was time to come in and say goodbye. His wife Sandy holding his hand. A nurse holding an iPad while a chaplain prayed with him. This was the picture of Croxton that worried Alan Hawes. Would it be too painful for his wife to see? Then again, Hawes usually never sees the families again.
Someone would like to see you.
On this day, they did. Alan Hawes saw Sandy Croxton again.
How are you doing?
This time they just held each other. No pictures needed. Just thank you to each other.
Well, I can only imagine how the frontline workers who are watching this piece are saying he's telling our story. Thank you, Alan Hawes.
I think, Alan, if he were here at the table, he'd say, David, you made that all about me, but the reality is I'm doing this for them, right? It's reflective of what all of us are going through.
How is he holding on? Because when you asked him, is he broken? You see it on his face.
said he
and he's
was.
seeing death and sickness constantly.
It's weighing on him. He even said at one point, he goes, we were so worried about COVID in the beginning, but he said, we now are just, you think you're going to get it. You're kind of over it. You really don't worry about it. He's struggling, really struggling.
I thought it was interesting how he said when they first come in and they're not vaccinated, he's a little angry with them because look at, it's a problem that you cause for yourself, and then you hear your stories.
So honest of
and
him.
the empathy, comes through.
Here we are in year 2 of the pandemic, and we think we know these stories, David, and you managed to refresh the way we see it, and we see it new, as like it's the first time. That's a special talent you have.
We thank Alan Hawes.
He was right when he called it a public service announcement.
He said that's what got him permission. For a year and a half, he tried.
Yeah, thank you, David.
And thank you, David.